Hi, I'm Jessica Christoffer with Entertainment News. Students at the Art Institute of Chicago put on an exhibit this week. The works were a collaborative effort between the young artists and mentors who advised them not on just art, but on life experiences. Hayes Owens is live with more. Hi, Hayes.
Today, as we navigate a changed world, we strive to understand the stories that unfolded in the shadows of COVID-19. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Finding ways to incorporate nutrient-packed foods into your everyday diet can be a drag and overwhelming. But one health and mental wellness coach here in Chicago has found realistic and sustainable ways to feel good with foods you'll actually want to eat.
I'm really looking forward to it. I was able to speak to Delphine before the show actually started to talk about some of her jewelry pieces. Yeah. But for those who aren't familiar with what FGI is, can you tell me a little bit about it as their regional director?
Hi, Hayes. The Consulate General of Mexico kicked off its second annual Mexico Fest on Friday. The inauguration was held at Navy Pier on Cinco de Mayo to celebrate the traditions of Jalisco here in Chicago.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We just witnessed the debut collection of Braided Opulence by Swaby, and I'm here with one of the models. Check out her fit this evening. For those who don't know who we're speaking with, could you start by introducing yourself, please?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Micaiah Reeves. I am a local Chicago model, and I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to have you on camera with me.
Hi, Julia. Dinner with a View opened this weekend here off of Michigan Avenue. This traveling dining experience will be here for the next several weeks. Take a look.
I'm Jessica Christoffer here with some entertainment news. I got to meet some real-life superheroes at the Midwest's largest pop culture convention. They tell me their struggles are not so different from our own. Take a look. Hi, Abby. More than $160,000 was raised at the Best Buddies Friendship Walk this weekend. Participants from across Illinois walk in support of inclusion for all people. Good morning and happy Valentine's Day. I'm here at the 115th Chicago Auto Show at McCormick Place Center, where Subaru has partnered with a local shelter to bring some puppy love to our local residents. It's election day in the city of Chicago, and Chicagoans are showing up all around the city to vote for what has become a close race for mayor. Hi, Raylan. The tragic shooting happened last Wednesday evening. While no Northwestern students were shot, the incident has left many disappointed in the university's response. Northwestern students sheltered in place Wednesday evening after hearing news of an active shooting at Clark Street Beach.
It was like one of the scariest moments I've ever had in like a school environment.
But for over 30 minutes, students say the university failed to inform them of the ongoing threat.
I thought it was ridiculous. I thought that the fact that group chats and like text messages and posts on apps like Yik Yak and Instagram, the fact that those were my notifications of the shooting prior to Northwestern giving me information that a dangerous situation was going on was preposterous.
According to a press release from the city of Evanston, the shooting occurred at approximately 8:10 p.m. The first email was sent at 8:44 p.m. by Northwestern.
As soon as those group chats and Instagram and other social media went off, people started running in a panic from the beach. And if that hadn't happened, who knows what would have happened to those students who were actively there.
Northwestern released a statement Thursday saying leadership will review our response, our procedures, and the phone communication for the future.
There can't be something that wrong with your notification system that you waited 38 minutes to notify students that an active shooting was happening, 5-minute walk from most people's dorms.
One man is dead and 2 teens are wounded as a result of the shooting. Police are still searching for suspects. In Chicago, I'm Jessica Christoffer, Chicago This Week.
We should all have the right to be who we want, what we want, and when we want, okay?
Fashion Bar hosts Chicago Fashion Week at the Water Tower Place. And the Transmedia Fashion Show drew hundreds to the runway on Thursday.
Transmedia Fashion Show has been around for 6 years, and it transpired out of a dream of 3 words: transmedia fashion.
Chicago is an important nexus for the country, especially Illinois, and what's going on right now all across the country with the legislation against the LGBTQ community. Illinois is a bastion of safety for us. And I think it's important to have fashion be elevated here in the city because fashion is life. Fashion is representation and sharing our stories and who we are with everyone. And so when you have people like Tony and the many other advocates here in the city that want to show these stories, it helps everyone.
Do that, then we will be able to radiate the strength and the power that our community needs to move forward.
Last year, the first runway I walked, Tony and I talked about gender equity and inclusion right from the runway. And if these kids can see what I'm doing, and I can say, you can do it too.
In Chicago, I'm Jessica Christoffer, Chicago This Week. The 23rd annual Chicago Polar Plunge is underway. People from across the United States have flooded to North Avenue Beach to take an icy dip in Lake Michigan.
4,000 people registered for this year, and I never heard of it until I was looking for volunteer opportunities with Special Olympics. So it is a crazy big event. I'm glad I get to be a part of now, and I'm gonna jump in after I'm done volunteering.
So why have so many attendees volunteered to jump into waters averaging 36 degrees in March? For them, the couple minutes in the freezing water is worth how good you feel afterwards.
Do know that after I personally do the plunge, I feel invigorated, I feel alive, which is super cool. And I think that there are a lot of health benefits to doing cold water plunge.
Across social media platforms, people are sharing their love for ice bathing.
My favorite part of cold plunging is the feeling you get when you immediately get out of the water.
And an expert in cold exposure therapy understands why.
But it can be as simple, when I'm running a workshop, I'll usually say, hey, listen, 15 minutes and 30 seconds will change your life. 15 minutes of conscious breathing and then 30 seconds of a cold shower, will change your life.
James Stewart is a Wim Hof instructor, teaching the principles of Wim Iceman Hof's method of breathing, cold therapy, and commitment.
The science ends up suggesting that 11 minutes of cold exposure, ice bathing is what they use. Cold water therapy below 50 degrees is the ideal temperature spread out over the week.
Reported physical benefits include improved mood, more energy, weight loss, and reduced inflammation.
It is really good for recovery and muscle, but for a short time. Run in and run out. You don't want to stand in there. But no, we take ice baths once a week after a hard workout at practice. So exactly, don't ask me the mechanics, but it is very good for recovery, muscle recovery.
I think a lot of people probably start some sort of ice bathing or cold exposure piece with physiological benefits in mind and then realize the mental part of it is something that keeps you coming back.
Other things that we get from social media and your phone, but you can get from jumping in the cold water, and it floods your body with endorphins, and it makes that other stuff not as important as what you already did.
You have this elevated stress response very quickly. Your body, obviously, that part of you that wants you to survive is get out of the water. It rushes all the blood to your core. Then all of a sudden you're like, hang on a second, I'm actually not going to die. And I have some influence over my physiology. I have some domain over how I react, right? So I can then choose to respond rather than react.
Hi, welcome to Chicago This Week. I'm Jessica Christoffer. Thanks so much for joining us. There's a new man in charge. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson was inaugurated this week. Our Abby Buston was at the swearing-in ceremony. She brings us the very latest. Thanks, Abby. Sadly, it happened again. Another Chicago police officer was shot and killed. The latest victim, Officer Ariana Preston, was off duty and outside her home when she was robbed and murdered. Kennedy Chase is live with more. Hi, Kennedy. This next story has police baffled. A woman wielding a baseball bat is accused of randomly attacking people at multiple locations. One of the attacks was caught on camera. Lena Folk talked to the person who recorded the beating on their phone, capturing evidence for authorities. Hi, Lena. There's a group of Chicagoans who meet to try and solve problems. Specifically, they want to help eliminate the social and political barriers that recently incarcerated people face when trying to re-enter society. I attended one of those meetings. Take a look. Batteries, light bulbs, plastic bags, and tires. They're among the most difficult items to recycle. They require special steps that aren't necessary with paper or glass. A new center just opened up to handle these items. Brenda Ordonez has that report. Welcome back. Most of us have experienced this. We've broken a favorite necklace or watch, and we can't bring ourselves to throw it away. So it sits broken in a drawer for years. Well, a woman in Europe created a group meetup with repair volunteers to fix those broken items for free. Now, that group meetup, essentially doctors for your broken things, is in Chicago. We just wrapped up Mother's Day week. Moms everywhere were celebrated. But what about the women who lost their children? In this week's Living Local, Julia O'Leary introduces us to a group of people who support those moms who've loved and lost. Finally tonight, how do you know it's summer in Chicago? One of the telltale signs downtown is when the Buckingham Fountain in Grant Park is on. Reporter Hayes Owens, along with hundreds of spectators, was there the moment the water started flowing this week. Here's her report.